Hello, and welcome to another Forgeborn Hobbies video. In this video, I'm going to show you how I take a supermarket toy dragon and turn it into a Dracolich for Dungeons & Dragons. Here we go. So I was at the grocery store a few weeks ago, and I came across this zombie skeletal dragon for Halloween. This was, I think, the week of Halloween, and I saw it, thought, hey, that'd be great for D&D. I need to pick that up. So I did. It was, I think, $7.50, maybe $8, and I'm gonna spend maybe $5 worth of supplies more, and I'm gonna turn this into a very cool, very unique, very large zombie dragon or Dracolich for D&D. As I was recording originally, I decided to try doing a voiceover as I worked on the model. This is what you can see now in front of you, is me describing what I want to do, describing how this Dracolich is going to be a little bit bigger than is probably ideal, but is what I think the size of a D&D dragon should be. If you look at a normal D&D dragon, they just don't have the scale that they need to if you buy the official models. So I've always been looking for one that's better than this, and this is what I found, and I really like it. There's some problems with this being a plastic toy model. The worst of which is that you can see the screws where they screwed different pieces together. Don't know why it's not glued together or epoxied together, but that's how they did it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Milliput to fill in a bunch of gaps on this model to get started. Eventually, I will also need to figure out what to do with the wings, and I'll need to really think about how I can flesh this out. But what you can see here is the first part of this process is just filling in gaps. I'm using a lot of Milliput here. Luckily, Milliput's really cheap. I get it at Hobby Lobby. That big box in the background, I don't remember how much that cost, but it goes a long way. It's a 2-part epoxy, and especially if you're smart with it and you spread it out more, it'll go a long way. I can sculpt it if I wanted to. I didn't really want to sculpt anything onto this model. I wanted it to be as close to what I bought as I could until I started adding the fleshy bits later. So as you can see, just going around filling gaps, checking to see where the most obvious gaps are. It's mostly on the underside of all the different pieces, so it's really not that big a deal if I miss something, but I do go through several passes of just shoving Milliput in there, and I do have to let this dry for several hours to really cure. I worked on this model over the course of several days, so I did this part, waited for it to cure for a while, went and did something else, came back, that kind of thing. I don't have a lot of time in my day job to just stop and work on a mini for hours and hours and hours. So this is the best I could probably get in one sitting, and I will come back to this later. As I mentioned earlier, my recording just didn't work the way it was supposed to. The sound just stopped recording for some reason in the middle of me talking. I don't know what did that. I don't know if the computer went to sleep, or if there's something wrong with the mic, or if there's something wrong with the recording and editing software. Really don't know what happened, but there is a lot of useless footage and a lot of useless audio that I have. So I'm having to re-record this after the fact. I'm hoping in future videos to be able to do more of a in-person or live description of what I'm doing, and then maybe cutting to these time lapses that you can see. I need to get that figured out. Since I do this as a hobby, I don't do this for money. It's taking me probably a lot longer than it should to figure out how to do YouTube well. If you have any tips, tricks, suggestions, throw them in the comment section, and enjoy the rest of this time lapse of filling in with Milliput, and we will come back in just a second for the next step. Next, after the milliput had had a chance to cure for, I think, an hour or so, I decided to try something else that didn't need to get in the way of the milliput I'd already put on there. I wanted to try adding some skin to the wings of this dragon. I didn't like that this model didn't have anything but bones. It's just it looks weird to me. I don't know why, but I wanted to give this thing some flesh and skin, and I thought the wings would be a good place to at least try something. Even if I didn't add it anywhere else on the model, I wanted to at least put something on the wings to flesh them out a little bit. So what I did is I used the old school kind of paper mache method of um, thinned Mod Podge with some water. I think it's like 50-50 Mod Podge to water and tissue paper that you wrap gifts with, and just kind of went back and forth layering on Mod Podge and tissue paper and shaping things with my hands and adding more layers and more layers until I was happy with it. I did get a little bit carried away trying to tatter the wings and you can see that I actually pulled them so much that in some places I completely ripped them off of um, the gap between the bones. So I did have to go back, let this dry, and put another layer on, um, and then sealed it before I moved on to the next step with just a straight coat of Mod Podge. That hardens it, protects the tissue paper from any kind of damage while I'm handling it. And as you will see, um, this is just the beginning. So here we go. As the wings were drying, I kind of got excited about how this was starting to turn out. So I decided that I wanted to add this to more of the model. Decided that a zombie dragon slash Dracolich that only had skin on its wings still looked way too much like skeleton dragon and not enough like Dracolich. So I mixed up a lot of milliput, um, way too much milliput, probably half of the box that I have. And I'm going to spend some time here fleshing out parts of the model where I thought the skin and the muscle may still be intact even after, hundreds or even thousands of years sitting in a cold, dark cave, um, decomposing very slowly over the years. Um, and that's what I just spent some time doing. I will eventually add more Mod Podge and tissue paper over the top of this to get skin, but for now I'll let you see where I put the milliput to get that muscle definition to create the base for all of this. So enjoy, and we'll be back in a moment. So I go pretty much straight from the Milliput into adding more layers of Mod Podge and tissue paper to the rest of the model. The great thing about Milliput is that I can add stuff right over top of it. Glue sticks to it really well, and it doesn't really matter if I handle the Milliput because I haven't sculpted anything. It's just there to give a base for the Mod Podge to stick to. So from here on out, I'm just going to add layers of Mod Podge and tissue paper over each other to bulk things out, to add definition, to make it look like as close to natural mummified skin as I can, as weird as that sounds. This is going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time to dry. This is definitely something to do on a protected surface so that it doesn't get glue everywhere. I really like how this turns out in the end. So I will be back in just a second once this is all done. So at this point, this video is getting way too long. We're pushing 20 minutes already. This is where I end up. I've done all of the sculpting and the Mod Podge pieces, and we're ready for paint. I'm going to come back in the next video and show you that. So make sure that you subscribe, like this video if you like it, and I will see you shortly for painting the D&D Dracolich. Thanks. See you later.